Hello, welcome to my first art video. Today I'm going to show you, possibly older kids, how to do some blending with the oil pastels, and we're going to do some water lilies inspired by our good friend Claude Monet. So what I want to show you is how to use the oil pastels to do some blending. Now obviously Monet did his water lilies in paint, but we are going to use some of the oil pastel techniques to try to recreate his the look that he uses in this painting. So I've arranged my pastels so that I have the colors I'll be using closest to me. I will mostly be working in blues and greens, and then a little bit of pink and maybe a little purple too. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start out by taking a peek at this painting. You'll notice that the water lilies on the surface have these horizontal lines, and these reflections have vertical lines. So we're gonna start with some lily pads that have these horizontal lines, and then we're going to fill in the background with the vertical lines. So that's going to look like this. Let's start with maybe a light blue and a kind of mint green and maybe a sage green. And we're just going to make some ovals. And we're going to do some blending with all three of these colors in this horizontal fashion. You'll notice as you go on top, one color on top of the other, they blend together, which is going to help with this sort of watery, reflective type of look. Okay? Now, we are going to make a few of these beautiful blossoming water lilies. So I'm going to start with white, and I'm going to make a big blossom right here. You can't see it terribly well, and it's got a few other colors already mixed in, and that's okay. I'm going to put a couple water lilies in here, and then I'm going to grab a nice bright pink, and we're going to make the bottom really bright pink. Notice how messy my lines are? That's a-okay, because this is an impressionist painting, which means we need the impression of what we're drawing, and it does not have to be a perfect representation. So we'll get those water lilies in there. We can even add a really nice deep red to really get those dark spots to pop. Now under the water lilies, we have leaves. So we'll make some nice dark leaves underneath each little lily, water lily blossom. And then it's time for our vertical lines. Now the vertical lines, as you can see in the painting again, are different shades of greens and kind of yellowish greens, and then all of this pretty kind of periwinkle blue. So let's grab a good green here, maybe a kind of a olive green. And we'll do some kind of vertical lines in here. And we'll go back with our sage green here. And blend a little together there. Then I am going to get a blue. We need a nice, bright, pretty blue. And we'll get some blue. That's a very bright blue, but that's okay. Get some blue in here. And then another shade of blue. The more color variation, the better. You can never blend too many colors, especially with oil pastels. light blue. Take my light blue here. Blend in here. I'm going right over top of my other blues to really blend them together to give a lot of different values of blue and green in my water. Coloring, 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 coloring. Okay, now that I've got a lot of my color laid down, I'm just going to do a little final blending in here with my mint green. Really make sure you get all of those white spots colored, but the important thing is to get those lines vertical and the right lines horizontal. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take these, if you look at the painting again real quick here. Some of these have these nice deep blue lines kind of almost circling those lily pads. So I'm going to grab blue and I'm going to kind of do some messy kind of circles around those. And maybe go back with just a little bit more blue in some of these here. And there we go. Now all I need to do is maybe make a little more pops of color here in my water lilies, and maybe even a little tiny dab of a bright yellow in the center, one of those. And there you have it. Now when I take off my painter's tape, since I just wanted to make a pretty kind of frame on mine here, and I have this beautiful Monet inspired water lily piece. Thanks for joining me.